If Rapper's Delight was recorded in 1979, and we're in 2023, what happened between 1973 and 1979? There's a lot of years there without recorded rap. This is where the DJ style was everything. This is why hip hop starts with the DJ. It starts with the DJ taking other forms of music and mixing it in a way that was strong enough to be a style, with selection, with technique, finding parts of records and then making them your own. That style is what informs me, hip hop style DJing.
The baby scratch, the simplest DJ technique there is, but at one point it was the peak of DJ techniques. So how did we get from that to this? Nobody has advanced DJ techniques faster than the hip-hop DJ.
This is the biggest misconception. You know, hip-hop did not create DJing. So let's get that straight. People get that blurred line. DJing was going around in New York in the 60s, from mid to late 60s. So you had the Grandmaster Flowers in Brooklyn, you had the Pete DJ Jones Uptown, and then you had the Hollywood, and you had the Sonny Chiba. So,
and it's not just us. I can take this across the country. Everybody was doing this. Everybody was DJing or playing music in the park or at a barbecue. That's all this shit is.
And even though we had DJs from our hood playing music, we would travel wherever it was a jam.
It was finding a section of the record that did something else and keeping it going. When that happened, that's when I realized, okay, this is different than just mixing two records together. Because now we have to manipulate the record.
When I got downtown, I seen that. I was intrigued more and more from what's in. And then when I got to Herc, it really grabbed me.
On August 11th, 1973, Cindy Campbell and her brother Clive would throw a party in the rec room at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. This is where Clive, aka DJ Kool Herc, would unveil a new technique he'd been working on called the merry-go-round, where he took the break of a song and went right into the break of another song, right into the break of another song. The only problem was this type of technique had existed for years. Disco DJs downtown like Walter Gibbons and Nicky Sieno were taking two copies of the same record and extending breaks to make songs longer because that's what the disco dance floor wanted.
These guys were playing that kind of music. Now, what happened with Herc, by him creating the merry-go-round, which wasn't perfected. I mean, us DJs I know was extremely offbeat. There was no continuity to it. The only thing that was constant is that all you heard was breaks back and forth.
I just think the Bronx formed it and gave it more of a, I won't say a structure, but gave it more of an identity.
First person who I recognized as far as the culture of hip hop was Kool Herc.
So why was August 11th, 1973 recognized as the birthplace of hip hop? Well, you've got Herc extending these breaks. You've got an MC that can now rap over this bed of music because it's instrumental. You've got B-boys and B-girls in the audience dancing. These are all the key ingredients, plus graffiti, for hip-hop.
Now, I was in this process of watching it develop to the point where there was no cue system, to the point where there's a crossfader.
He had a pair of Pioneer PL-15 turntables. And, he was playing small little portions of these, or other different songs that, you could identify.
Was this the first time in history that this happened? I don't even know if that's a knowable fact.
Sometimes people take these things as the Bible. You have to be careful when you're talking about the history of it all.
But what's significant about this period is these techniques coming together allowed other DJs to see them, build upon it, and create an evolution of techniques.
Once the rise of the hip-hop culture coming behind Herc, you start hearing about a sprinkle of different people, different places, not knowing that some of them was in the same room with me at the same time when we was going to a Herc affair.
Seems like later on in history, when people started making money off of hip-hop, everyone wanted to trace the roots. But I don't think Herc mixed two breaks together and people ran out into the streets and proclaimed hip-hop. That's not really how information traveled in 1973.
I would say Herc was inspired, Flash perfected it, Bambaataa cultivated it.
I always tell this story about how my cousin used to talk about this kid. He said, Kid Flash.
The evolving of DJ techniques would start almost immediately after Herc. Young DJs like Grandmaster Flash that were able to see the merry-go-round at a Herc affair would work to perfect it.
He DJs with 13 turntables. Now I'm DJing and I'm like, anybody can hook up 13 turntables. No. He's like, yeah, he just cutting, he got it all line, he just cutting and cut.
Grandmaster Flash with those turntables on that kitchen table. And he was scratching that. And I was like, yo, what the hell is that? And how's he doing that?
So the concept, when I tell Flash about it, so the concept was when Flash developed the quick mix. Oh, that's why. Because he was mixing, the quick mix was going so fast, he couldn't tell. Seemed like you had to have a lot of turntables. Because the concept of back queuing, spinning back, this is all 70s.
So when Flash came on the scene and started the theory with the measuring of spinning back and everything, and he was the one that really, I would say, put the essence of these beats able to be rhymed upon. He made that, he perfected that for sure.
Flash took the concept of extending the breaks and calculated mathematically how many times you had to bring back a record to end up right at the beginning. He would dub this the quick mix theory, and it would tighten everything up to where DJs could do it without a headphone cue, because at that time, headphone cues existed on mixers, but they weren't very common. Pretty soon, this would make an appearance on record.
Actually hearing the adventures of Grandmaster Flash on the Wheels of Steel, that was mind-blowing in itself, right? Because
You say one for the trouble. I knew that whole mix by heart, but it was certain parts I just was wondering, like, how the hell is he doing that? What is that sound?
That sound was the Baby Scratch, created by Grand Wizard Theodore. He credits it with an accident. He was playing music in his room too loud. His mom came in, so he grabbed the record to stop it. When she left, he ended up accidentally moving his hand, liked the sound of it, and worked to perfect that technique.
these are all popular records at the time, and then you're just hearing them being manipulated.
The Adventures of Grandmaster Flash on the Wheels of Steel, one of the greatest DJ records to this day. You know what I'm saying?
I hadn't seen DJing yet. So this is all audio experience for me.
Up to this point, the majority of all DJ techniques were audio only until
Grand Mixer DST, the rocket thing.
As soon as you heard that, you were like, what is that? And then when you saw the video or you saw it done live or whatever, you're like, that guy's the coolest guy on stage. I don't care about that synthesizer or that guitar or those drums or whatever. Like, that's the coolest guy. I want to be that guy.
I mean, God, that just was like music from space. You know, when that came out, that was like mind-boggling when you heard that. You know, like it was like, what is that? How do you do that? What's that sound?
The next day, we were all talking about, did you see DST scratching? And he was just scratching with the thumb. He had his headphones with the antenna and stuff like that.
And him with Herbie Hancock in Europe, and you're watching him scratch. And that was the first real, because he had that weird sideways hand style. I still have the recording of it where my VHS tape of it, and just sitting there like, holy.
So now DJs and the general public could hear and see a DJ scratching. This was a pivotal moment, but it would only last a very short time because coming up right behind it,
the biggest change is obviously going to be Jazzy Jeff, the transforming.
Probably say the number one is Jazzy Jeff live at Union Square.
Anytime you want to hear someone do that, Jeff, we all know the whole routine.
In 1988, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince released He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper, which contained a live recording of a 1986 performance called Live at Union Square, where Jeff would unveil the Transform Scratch.
And it's the Porsche of scratching when he unveiled the Transformer Scratch. That changed everything. You had to learn it.
They didn't make enough noise for me. Give them another Transformer Scratch, Jazzy. One more Transformer.
I love the way he was doing the chirp scratch, right?
And I love that transformer scratch that he was doing because that was just totally mind-blowing.
It was named the Transform Scratch because it sounded like the noise that the Transformers made.
Mike here wants to know how we transform, Hound. Easy, like this.
Incredible. Everyone did that same scratch, but they did it definitely a lot different. They had their own funk to it.
Listen, Jazzy Jeff with the Transform Scratch changed everything, man.
Talking about the delivery system becomes important. So technically, the first time the Transform Scratch appeared on a record was 1986. Grand Dragon KD did it on Bring That Beat Back by Steady B. Now, those guys, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, are all from Philly. But He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper is a massive record that goes around the country, around the globe. So it's a better delivery system to get that technique out to the world.
What? What the fuck are these Philadelphia doing?
And this is the late 80s, and we were all at home trying to figure out how to do the Transform scratch, coming up with our own interpretations.
DJ Aladdin did the Transform different from Joe Cooley. You could hear them because on their records, they did it a certain way where they had their certain funk in it, their flavor.
So DJ techniques, scratching are developing to the point where competition starts to occur between who could do things the best, the fastest, etc. Plus there's a little bit of competition baked into hip hop. So naturally, it's perfect time for DJ battles.